is the fact that homeopathic medicine in this country has virtually been extinguished. You can hardly find homeopathic physicians. People who go to homeopathic physicians are regarded as eccentric or desperate or something like that. And yet in England, homeopathic medicine is just as respectable as allopathic medicine, the kind of medicine we have here. Why is it in one country you have one type of medicine, allopathic, and in England you got a choice. You can use either allopathic or homeopathic and it's not considered weird. This happens to be a historical accident. It happened because the royal family happened to believe in homeopathic medicine, so the allopathic doctors could not conspire to make that look like a crank movement and drive it underground as they did with homeopathic medicine here. And the same thing is happening, for years we believed the Orient was backwards compared to us, so nobody studied Chinese medicine. Now acupuncture and many other types of Chinese medicine are becoming better known. So I think as far as the paradigm changing, the change has already started to happen, and it's going to happen faster. People are getting more open-minded and more willing to try alternatives, and that's going to force the medical profession itself to become more open-minded, or they're going to lose more and more clients. More and more people tend to go to herbalists or body workers or postural integration therapists or try alternatives, and it quite often makes a lot of sense. On the other hand, I am a bitter opponent of either-or thinking and easy dichotomies. If A is right, B must be wrong. I don't like that kind of thinking at all. I think there's a great deal of value in orthodox American medicine. I think people who never go to an MD may be running serious risks. I'm in favor of trying everything and see what works best. I think that's really the emerging paradigm, is open-mindedness rather than saying either this or that. We used to believe in this, now we won't believe any of it. We'll try the exact opposite. The universe doesn't seem to work that way. Generally, the truth turns out to be not either A or B, but something that transcends both A and B and includes them. I think Hegel noticed that before me, actually. That's the dialectic. Next question? Yes?
Back to the immortality thing in medicine in general. At the risk of sounding like a Marxist, do you think that these life extension techniques will be made available to the common people, or those who
I don't see anything wrong with sounding like a Marxist. I often sound like a Marxist myself. My attitude is use every reality tunnel where it's useful. I find Marxism very useful in analyzing a lot of phenomena. I find Freudianism very useful too. I use whatever model seems best for each case. I find most cases I understand a lot more if I look at it through 4 models instead of just through one. And I generally use the Marxist model as one of my 4 for thinking of most things. But your question is what I think Marx would have called vulgar Marxism. Pardon me. Marx did coin that phrase himself. There is an assumption in there that they will keep something away from us. That is based on the idea that they are smarter than us. I don't accept that. I regard myself and my friends as the real power elite. I don't think anybody is smarter than us or going to get anywhere faster than us. And so I don't worry about those mighty figures who are tougher and smarter and shrewder and are going to keep everything to themselves, because I just think I happen to know the smartest scientists on the planet. And I'm going to hear about life extension before most people do. And I'm going to spread the word as fast as I can. Meanwhile, I think that field will turn out to be very much like automobiles or computers or most other things in modern technology. Henry Ford was the first one to discover you make a hell of a lot more by making cheap cars and selling them to everybody than you do by making expensive cars and selling them only to millionaires. And that's why there are so many cheap computers around now, because that knowledge is spread beyond the automobile industry. As soon as life extension technology is achieved in a laboratory, the next thing they'll do is find out how cheap they can sell it, because you make a lot more by selling to 8 billion people on the planet than you'll make by selling it to 20 billionaires. And so I'm not really worried about that scenario. Yes?
I have some problem with any notion of them at all. In fact, I only think of everybody as us.
Yes, I agree absolutely. I think we should think of the human race as one family. I just happen to think that my particular section is the smartest part of the family, but that's... Yes?
given what you said about political stupidity and about the information age that's coming up, can any kind of political structure or power elite survive the upcoming information explosion?
Well, I don't think so. I think they're all going to collapse. I don't know what's going to replace them. I'm still working on that problem. But it seems to me every existing political system and every existing political theory is based on assumptions that are, well, some of them go back 2,000 years, some of them go back 6,000 years, some of them go back to when America was an agricultural nation before the invention of the automobile. There are hardly any political theories that are contemporary with 1986. The people who are trying to think of a political theory contemporary with 1986, like Marilyn Ferguson and F.M. Esfandiari, have come up with wild scenarios which I don't think are going to be anything like what will emerge. I think what will emerge will be a synergetic product that astonishes all of us. But it will be much more libertarian than anything we've had in the past. For two reasons. People are getting more literate all over the world. No, more than two reasons. Literacy is spreading faster and faster. There are more and more university graduates everywhere. It's happening, you know, in the United States, 4% were university graduates in 1900. Now it's around 60%. The same thing is happening in the rest of the world at a slower rate. Literacy is spreading into all the parts of the third world where everybody was illiterate 20 years ago. You got increasing literacy. So we're getting more and more literacy, more and more education, more and more communication, and at the same time these Jeffersonian 18th century ideas are getting around more and more, and the consciousness revolution, modern psychology, the I-squared function, learning how to change your own nervous system, is getting around more and more. So you're getting more and more people who demand the right to choose and demand options and choices and demand not to be given orders all the time. And so I think the authoritarian structures will find it harder and harder to govern the people of the future. They just won't know how to control the population. At the point where government breaks down, the only alternative to chaos is intelligent negotiation. And if you look up the entry under my name and who's who, where nowadays they allow you to add a philosophical comment after your biography, my philosophical comment is, let us all study the art of negotiation. I think that's the most important art to learn for the future, because less and less will be decided by force, more and more will be decided by negotiation. We should all learn to be good negotiators. Next question.
Speaking of us and them, what do you see coming along the vision that help keep them from blowing us up?
Well, I think what has kept them, if we must talk that way, what has kept them from blowing us up is John von Neumann. John von Neumann designed the first programmable